Welcome back to Han Took Shots First. This is finally episode 4 of The Acolyte, titled Day.
Man. Nope, just day, not day,
Day
man.
Man.
Oh.
I'm Derek.
I'm Jack.
Chut chut.
Chut chut.
Nope.
So I'll tell you now, I was disappointed. I watched it twice. I watched it right when it came out. I didn't check the runtime. So as soon as things started happening, I was like, oh my God, it's going to go to black, isn't it? And sure as shit, credits came up. And I was like, fuck. It made me really upset to not like this episode. So I'm glad that we postponed a bit, because it got me a chance to look at it today with more fresh eyes, knowing what I know.
Yeah.
And yeah, a better episode than I thought. Still not a great one, except for the last, 5 minutes. Really did it for me.
It's more like merging the two storylines together, the two characters.
We're getting
But
there.
I think now we're all together. And obviously there's 4 episodes left. And at least one of them is going to be another flashback.
Yeah, from somebody else's point of view.
At least partial.
Because we are getting the unreliable narrator point of view.
Yeah.
From we see it from Osha's point of view.
Well, it's like I said on the last one, it's Rashomon-esque or Last Jedi, same thing, where you're seeing the same story from different points of view. You see the whole story from one point of view, and then you see segments of it from another point of view and segments of it from another until you figure out what really happened. Yes, exactly, from a certain point of view.
Yeah. So and you said this at the beginning of this segment of Han Took Shots First. It's really hard to judge a show episode by episode.
Yeah.
Because I could be upset right now and then next week be like, oh my God, they set up for the best thing ever. We don't know yet.
I swear to God, if we don't get this fucking battle,
dude,
if he just pushes them away and disappears, I'm going to be so mad.
I will be mad too.
I'm already telling you, I'm already calling it. It's going to start not where we ended.
Okay.
It's going to start like after the battle. But I'm hoping it'll start after the battle and they're like licking their wounds and then it'll cut back to the battle, please.
I mean, we have a couple people here that might as well be wearing red tunics. Like, you are a red shirt. You are like, there's the guy that's like, come out and hold your hands up. Like, well, you're dead.
Yeah,
you're dead because you don't even have a name.
Yeah, all the Jedis that don't have names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they don't say his name, but it looks like Plo Koon. I don't know if you know, he's like the testicle head with goggles.
I didn't notice, but I did see something about that, and I wanted to go back and watch again, but I didn't have time.
He is, we see him in the background early, and then he is at Kelnacca's ship, lined up with all the other Jedi. So he's there. If that is in fact Plo Koon, he can't die.
I think the problem I have with recognizing characters like that is that it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I just see some kind of alien and I'm like, yeah, cool, Star Wars.
So his species is Keldor, and we have not in live action seen any besides him. So, and actually I'm thinking about anime. I don't know if we've seen it in animation either.
Just in he was in Clone Wars, but that's it, right?
Yeah.
Not much either, right?
No, he's on the council, and then you see him get blowed up in his spaceship after Order 66.
That gives me a good...
Oh,
go ahead.
Sorry, importantly, he is the Jedi that brought in Ahsoka to the Order.
Oh,
so,
okay.
And Dave Filoni's favorite fucking character.
Yeah, and that gives me a segue into something I read, which further proves something we've said multiple times on this show.
Star Wars
George
fans
Lucas,
suck.
well, there's that. But George Lucas had some great ideas, invented a cool universe. I think the problem isn't that he's not creative enough. I think the problem is he's old.
Yeah.
Because I read about, obviously you said Dave Filoni loves Plo Koon, and he has like a whole section of toys at his house dedicated to Plo Koon.
He's dressed up as him multiple times.
I read that for Clone Wars, his idea was we're going to cast someone who sounds like, I'm trying to think of the actor's name. I think it's Toshiro Mifune, who I believe he's a samurai, like a Japanese actor that was in a lot of samurai stuff.
Okay.
Very famous for playing a samurai. I believe he was the one in Lone Wolf and Cub.
Okay.
I could be getting it mixed up with some Kurosawa movies, but he played a samurai a lot.
Sure.
And that's what Dave Filoni wanted to cast, someone who sounded like a samurai, because we don't hear him in the prequel movies.
Not that I'm aware of, and if we do, it's him going, "Ah," when he gets blown up.
Yeah. George Lucas said, no, we should cast a Jim Carrey-like actor.
Whoa.
I'm like, so Dave Filoni has one idea for this character. George Lucas is just like, no, man, we need another fucking Jar Jar. Like,
I want him to come out and say, smoking. What if he bends over and talks out of his butt?
and I don't know what he sounded like, because they gave me the name of the actor who played him, but it doesn't mean anything to me. He's a voice actor. But I'm like, those are two very different things.
Yeah.
And one of them sounds cool and one of them sounds stupid.
Love me some Jim Carrey, but like not like that. Not in Star Wars.
Not like this.
Not like this. So yeah. I just said her name. Headland.
Leslie Headland.
Leslie Headland. Thank you. Showrunner. She's catching a lot of flack right now for something she said about everyone thinks George Lucas is the only one that can explain Star Wars. And she's like, no, there's also like people that are directors. There's also people like Ralph McQuarrie. And that's the thing that people aren't understanding. She's not shitting on George Lucas. She's giving Ralph McQuarrie props that he's like, this is the concept designer for a lot of things that we love. I think I've said it before. I say it a lot. Star Wars is a fire. George Lucas started it, but people are throwing logs on.
Yeah.
Other people are keeping that thing fed.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give Lucas props, but McQuarrie, dude, has done more for Star Wars than arguably anybody.
And I don't bother reading most of the like hate articles.
I try not to, but it's everywhere right
now.
now.
The comments I see all the time, but like the articles I see, and I've seen a lot lately, that sounds like George Lucas is fanning the flames of hate, but it could just be that the writers are taking something he said and spinning it to make that section happy. Because I've seen so much stuff that's like, well, George Lucas hated this and George Lucas hated that and da-da-da, and I don't click it because I couldn't care.
He hated the portrayal of Mark Hamill's portrayal of Luke Skywalker in Episode 8. He's allowed to hate that. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think what's happened is he sold Star Wars and became a fan, and now he's like, not my Star Wars. Like, yeah, it's not, dude. You gave up on that. So
it's literally not. You know what? You have $4.5 billion because of it. Shut up.
You have 4.5 billion reasons to walk away from Star Wars.
Plus, that dude's still making money.
Absolutely.
He sold Lucasfilm, but he did not sell his merchandise rights.
No way. Every toy I buy, he gets a chunk of that.
Yeah.
So, and again, like everything's open to criticism.
Yeah.
It's just that, like you said, people are fanning the flames like, oh, even the original creator hates this. Like, no, maybe it's just not how he would have made it.
I just couldn't care.
So, and I said this earlier to you, like, this is according to internet, the most woke Star Wars ever. I'm failing to see where it's overly woke or woke at all. I don't think anything's getting shoved down our throats right now.
No. There's the witches who are lesbians, but they're not.
Witches by definition are female.
Yeah. And there's no instance in this show so far of being like, well, they're right because they're lesbians. They're better because they're lesbians.
Yeah.
It's just that they are. That's
Ooh.
not woke. That's just acknowledging that lesbians exist.
This is nothing you were speaking of, but it's a fun fact I learned recently, and I want to share it with you because you were talking about witches. It got me into Night Sisters, which got me into Asajj Ventress. The voice actress for Asajj Ventress is the same person that did the Give It To Me Baby on The Offspring's Pretty Fly for a White Guy. And now that's something the world knows. It's so stupid.
Oh, so she ended The Offspring, is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, they
wrote
jump-started her career.
They wrote the song, but she was a large part of it.
Dude, I dare say it ended their career for you and I, but the rest of America was like, yeah, give it to me. He is pretty fly for a white guy. Damn. Didn't know that until the Asian girl told me.
But this episode we'll get into, one other thing about the wokeness.
Yeah.
The other thing people are complaining about is because most of our Jedi that are portrayed here as the main group, or all the main group, are not white dudes.
I think we had a white guy that we talked about earlier. It's like, come out with your hands up. Like,
but I mean, the main, the named characters, but also like, hey,
Plo Koon's pretty white for a fly guy.
There are thousands of Jedi. Are you telling me that they're all white? I know that the original Star Wars only had one non-white character.
Because it was 77 in England.
Also, it wasn't just one non-white character. There were blue ones and green ones, and the ones with tentacles.
I was arguing with somebody about that. I was like, Star Wars has always had people of color. The problem is, not the problem, but the thing is, sometimes it was pink, green, blue.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same argument as... And then we'll get off this. It's the same argument people had against X-Men 97 when it was first announced.
Yeah.
Is they're like, well, why is the X-Men so woke? Look at all these things they're doing. And I'm like, do you know what the X-Men is.
Yeah, Professor X is based off of Malcolm X. The mutants were supposed to be ostracized black people or minorities, based on kind of.
But then that show turned out to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't care if I can't think of the guy's name right now, the creator that got fired, the showrunner.
Yeah. I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I don't care if he's a gay dude that had an OnlyFans. Let him put his dick on the internet, bring him back, because that show is fucking awesome.
Oh, that was the issue?
That's the rumor. That's what's out there, because he is a gay gentleman, and apparently people found he had an OnlyFans.
Yeah, but
so
here's
that's
the thing about
thing is Disney's like, well, that's not our image, and it's like, yeah, but the show is great, so shut the fuck up.
And here's the thing about OnlyFans: you can't just go happen upon it. You got to go look for that dude's dick. He's not putting it like on Facebook. He's not putting it on he's not putting pictures on telephone poles. You know,
his Grindr profile is like creator of X-Men '97, Disney employee. Like,
yeah, like he's got an OnlyFans that you have to go put money towards to see it.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That show is banging, and if we can get him back, I'll fucking.
And I guess he did write a good portion of season 2, but he's not going to be involved with rewrites, directing, creative choices, etc.
Gotcha.
And I think they should bring him back. But that's a different show. And we also just lost a few more listeners.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just download this twice.
So this episode, Day, no more slashes, I guess, because they're together now.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh, we will see.
Dude, all right. So I think everyone listening knows I smoke a lot of weed when I watch these. I am still on the fact that one of them's dead. I'm just waiting to see them interact. I had to watch twice again. I was trying to look at Osha's forehead to see if she had the tattoo. It's not there, but they also don't show her forehead clearly.
Yeah, because the braids are longer and cover her forehead.
Speaking of the tattoo, what do you think about, I know I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but Kelnacca, he's like going insane right now. He's going like Jim Carrey in Number 23 movie. He's drawing this symbol and what I'm assuming is the Star Wars yin yang.
Yeah, that's my first note is basically that he's obsessively drawing the Maze mark.
So I wonder, did he get possessed during the what are we going to call this? The purge? The purge.
That works.
Yeah. So did he get possessed? We saw Torben get possessed, but then released. Did one of these? I'm still on that. Coril is bad.
Yeah.
She possessed Kelnacca to kill a bunch of witches, and now he's got shit stuck in his head.
And to clarify something we said last time, you pointed out that Coril was not there in the pile of dead bodies. Whitney and I had not noticed. She is not there.
She's not. Okay.
So
because I did only watch that one once.
Yeah.
So
yeah, she is not there. We weren't sure. That's what you said.
Keep that in your head when we get to the end of this.
But so this one, another new director for the series, Alex Garcia Lopez. Woke.
What? Because he's got 3 names.
Well, because he's not white.
I
know. But directed some of Luke Cage, some of that Hulu series Cloak and Dagger, which I couldn't care about, but Whitney liked.
Dude,
but Whitney likes YA shit. So
I have a love affair with those characters in comics, especially. They're weak, but I just love the design and the, what would you call it, duality of those two. I love it. That show is trash. And I recently went back and I was like, well, I got to at least finish season 1 because there's only 2 seasons. Dude, it is pulling teeth watching that shit.
She watched it all and she was sad when it was canceled, but that doesn't mean anything. She's also currently rewatching Charmed.
Yeah, probably crying her eyes out.
From the 90s, from the early 2000s, not the new Charmed, which is probably woke. But
I don't know much of this guy's stuff, what you're saying. Like, I mean, I watched Luke Cage and stuff.
Well, real quick, he also did some of the Daredevil, Punisher, The Witcher, and 5 episodes of Cowboy Bebop, the live action series.
So what I'm hearing from you, and without being too much of a naysayer, is you know how to work for a company. Because you mentioned a bunch of Netflix shows. You mentioned a bunch of Disney shows, or Marvel shows, rather. You know how to work in this committee. Because I don't hate the directing here. It's just like, dude, we're about to come up on a scene where it's Jackie and Osha, and it's just flat. It's boring. Like, what they're talking about is just like, who could fucking care?
Yeah, I don't really have any notes about that, except for that Osha's leaving.
Because it's like this, what do you mean you're leaving? Well, I have to go. Well, no, you got to bring your sister in. That's somebody else's job. Like, don't tell you're going to miss me. And it's so bad.
As I was watching that, I was thinking, like, all these people who pre-hated the show are saying, well, it's written poorly. And I'm, like, watching that scene going, well...
See, but that's the thing. You and I have always said we're open to criticizing. You're not perfect. Nobody's fucking perfect. This is a whole. This is a reason not like this show if you want.
Well, let me put it this way. One of my favorite movies I've watched this year is an action movie from the 80s called Champagne and Bullets, starring the guy whose who made the movie, and Cole Hauser's dad, Wings Hauser, who I don't think read the script. So I don't mind bad writing.
Hey,
as long as there's some action, and this episode lets us down on that.
I'm going through Jean-Claude Van Damme right now, and I watched one last night that he wrote called The Order. It is awful, but I still enjoyed it. The writing's just bad. Was that a gunshot? No, I farted.
Is that a line?
Yep.
Good times.
Yep.
So this one, speaking of writers, written again by Leslie Headland, because she's the showrunner. Core Adana, who wrote some of Mr. Robot and The Imperfects, which is a show that Whitney watched, another streaming show. That was pretty entertaining. It's like kids who get superpowers, but like people, then the government's trying to get them that
as
kind
they
of thing.
would.
Yeah.
As one would.
And someone named Claire Keichel, I want to say.
Okay.
Who also wrote on The OA, which was, we watched the first season. It was a good show. It's a Netflix show. I didn't watch the second season. And some of the Watchmen series for HBO.
Oh, I liked that.
Which I did not see, but I heard mixed things, but from people I trust, I heard it was pretty good.
I liked it. I think especially you being who you are, almost need to watch it just to have it on your belt.
I want to watch it, but it was like, I can't think of the showrunner's name, but it's a person who's famous for starting things and then leaving.
Yeah.
And I guess it never continued, right? It was only the one season.
That's, I think, all it needed, though.
Oh, I thought there were supposed to be multiple, but like different characters.
Maybe it was supposed to be, but I think it wrapped up fine enough where
Okay.
I'm fine with what we got.
Okay. So we start on Khofar with Kelnacca going crazy, like we said.
It's Khofar away, dude.
And so I was wondering why I never noticed the shaved head, because we only saw him like the 2 times before.
Yeah. No,
the
I mentioned
flashback.
it. I mentioned it in the flashback.
We saw it in the flashback.
Okay, I see.
But I was wondering why I didn't notice it before that. We only saw him 2 times real quick, but then I realized he's wearing like a hood, and he's like crazy hermit in this. He's Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Or I guess Yoda, because he's living in the
this
woods.
is like his version of, because like I've talked about it before. Wookiees live like the Shadowlands are way too dangerous to live in their home planet Kashyyyk. This is like a light. This is a Darklands light.
Yeah,
or
it's
Shadowlands light.
It's not great. It's dangerous, but he's like, this ain't shit.
He's like, look at these bugs are only this big instead of this big. You can't see my hands.
These bugs are only the size of like a Saint Bernard.
Yeah, I'm used to fighting animals the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. I know you don't know what that is, but
He's like, look, you ever seen the movie Monster Hunter? Those are the bugs we have.
yeah, that's the Shadowlands.
Speaking of bad writing.
Oof.
But I did like when they go to, when Osha's leaving and she's having that stupid conversation with Jackie, the part I did like was the lightsaber training.
Yeah.
The only actor character that we see is Jackie. The other ones could all just be stunt people. But these kids are all handling these blades pretty well.
Oh, yeah. The Jedi Master, I'm assuming that's what he was. He might have been a Jedi Knight. I'm pretty sure I recognized him from The Last Kingdom, which is a Viking-style show where he plays
Makes
Ubba.
sense.
Yeah, like I'm looking at him because at first it looks like the dude.
Yep.
It looks like my fucking father.
The guy from Game of Thrones, whose name I can't think of right now.
Tormund Giantsbane.
Yeah. And as soon as I saw him, I was like, Jack's going to be so happy.
I just took his I'm looking at him like, you're not him, but you're not far off.
Big redhead dude with a fucking bun and a beard. I was like, Jack's like, look, I'm a Jedi.
No, more appropriate. I'm like, look, I can dress up like a Jedi now. They've never had one look like me.
But they never gave us his name. So when people ask who you are, you just be like, that lightsaber guy.
He'll be back. He'll be back. You don't get Ubba for nothing.
And yeah, she's leaving basically, and she doesn't want to talk to Soul. She says because she bothered him too much. I think it's because she knows that he's going to try to convince her not to leave.
They have a connection. It's inarguable, whether he's supposed to or not.
And they kind of reveal here too that Jackie is, she is still a Padawan, but she's not able to ignore these connections either.
But she's trying, because at one point she says like it echoes Yoda saying it to Anakin. Celebrate people who become one with the Force.
Yeah.
Like celebrate the dead.
She says that once we get to the planet,
right.
But like in their first conversation, she doesn't want Osha to leave.
And I don't think she buys it when she says it. She's just like, this is my mantra. This is what I was told to say.
Yeah.
Probably by Yoda.
Because that's the thing. It's just beat it into your head until you believe it, right?
So we're getting a rundown, though, from Soul. Vanessa Rowe shows up, and then first cameo. I've said his name wrong before. Kiadi Mundi. He's the big, long, narrow head.
And at first I saw him and I was like, look, another one of those dickhead aliens. Looks just like that other one.
They have his hair brown instead of gray.
Because he's younger.
This caused a kerfuffle because in some of the old books, he shouldn't be born yet.
Well,
But guess what? Those are legends.
Well, the article I read too said like there was some people who had done legends research, and also determined that he was probably like 382, unless that was Plo Koon. It was one of these two guys who shows up. I think it was him that the article I was reading was.
Yeah.
I didn't go too far into the Plo Koon one once I got to the Jim Carrey part.
Yeah, done researching that.
But so it probably depends, because despite what these rabid fans, hard quote fans on the internet say, the EU, now Legends, was not strictly controlled.
Yeah.
People just wrote whatever they wanted to write.
Yeah, there was no like master Bible.
Yeah.
Keeping everything in check.
So like,
but
it could be, but the thing I was reading, which made a lot of sense, he's the one in episode 1 who says the Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
And you see this arrogance come back right here where Soul says she doesn't know her master. An apprentice who doesn't know her master? Absurd.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't believe it. And then this chick on the left of him says, like, maybe it's a splinter faction or something
Which
worse.
I thought was a really cool addition.
I think so too. Like, so we got other Jedi that aren't, or we have other Force users that aren't Jedi, or other Jedi that are Gray Jedi, or there was a whole, God, I'm trying to think of what it was in the Old Republic era, but it doesn't matter.
Well,
but they, like, we've heard of these other types of Jedi.
Part of what I read in that article about splinter factions, previous ones that had been mentioned, was that it's not common, but one of them was like, I can't remember what they called the order, but it was like 6,000 years before the main series. And it's the group of Jedi who they were kicked out for studying the dark side. And they're the ones who ended up going to Korriban. I was like the Sith planet. I can't remember.
Yeah, I got you.
And they formed the Order of the Sith.
Yeah.
So they're the ones
Sith
who
was a race at first, and then intermingling and breeding. And so that's why I always thought when he uttered that line in episode 1, the Sith are extinct, I always assumed like maybe the Jedi didn't know that they had interbred with them. Maybe they're like, oh, the Sith species is definitely extinct, but you didn't realize the Sith is now a cult.
Yeah.
But,
so it could be that, or it could be that he just doesn't know what happens here, because we don't know if they're going to go back. We don't know if any of these people are going to survive.
Yeah.
Like there's already been talk of there being another season, but that doesn't mean, probably, because we already know by the end of this episode, Kelnacca's dead. Which is sad, because we haven't even seen him in action yet.
I was gonna say, like, I'm gonna be upset if we don't get to see him really
we
fight.
saw him with a lightsaber in the trailer, but I feel like that's got, obviously, based on this, that's got to be flashback stuff.
That's the Purge.
And Indara's dead, and Torben's dead. So I would imagine going forward, it'll be a mixture of the remaining ones. It'll either be Soul, who probably has to die for emotional purposes.
He said the line that makes him need to die. He said, as soon as we get back to the plane, the ship, I'll explain everything. Yeah, you ain't explaining shit. You're dead. Fuck, why'd you say that?
Yeah, I think the second season, if they get one, would involve May and or Osha.
I think we keep
Jecki, and probably Yord.
What's her name?
I don't remember now.
Daphne Keene.
Yes.
Daphne Keene. I think she's tremendous at times. I mentioned earlier that was flat. That's directing, that's writing. It could also be performing, but I'm giving her a pass because she's youngish.
Yeah.
But I think she's great, dude, as the half Thelan, half human.
And apparently Yord, who we talked a little bit of shit about in the first episode, has a big following on the internet.
Oh, the Yord Horde.
The Yord Horde.
The Yord Horde. You know what, though? I got something better for you. I'm out of the Yord Horde. I am in the Basil Bastion. Or the Basil Brigade. Love this little dude. Can't wait to get to him.
But their mission basically is to go to Khofar, extract Kelnacca, and Soul wants to go because he doesn't want May to die. And he's like, we have something that she wants, which is Osha.
Vanestra, it's a line that's gonna stick with me, but like it showed the two Jedi that were dead, and it showed Kelnacca on holograms. Yeah. And Vanestra Rowe says that person was trained by a Jedi. I can tell that by a hologram. That line's gonna stick with me because she either needs to be incredibly wrong or what fucking Jedi. She didn't say a Force user. She said a Jedi, which is like, I don't know, not the witches.
Yeah.
It would have to be a Jedi.
And we don't need to go through this in order, so I'll just talk about it now. The end, when we finally see the master.
I have a nickname for this person already.
What's that?
Darth Zeno. because it's a xenomorph, dude. In helmet, and I like it. I'm not talking shit. The way this character is lowered into the background, it's very reminiscent of Alien.
Yeah.
Where it's just like...
Except for it's a smiley face mask.
Yeah.
Like an evil smiley face.
I like it.
Like it looks like he looks kind of like a character from Twisted Metal.
You say he because that's what the show's telling you.
Yes.
So we won't get right there yet.
Have we got a podcast for you?
Bad movies, worse people.
I mean, look, you like getting a couple beers in you, watching a bad movie, and yucking it up with your friends. That's what we're doing. We have microphones.
We have great impersonations. We have bad impersonations.
I think it might be one of the best podcasts I've ever heard.
It's the best podcast I've ever heard, fellas. And I ain't lying through my giant teeth. There's a sample.
Yes.
You can find us anywhere. Badmoviesworsepeople.com. Come check us out.
If you don't follow us, we will follow you home. I do want to talk about how Qimir,
Yeah.
I clocked him as a Sith or a Dark Force user right away. I agree with you now to red herring because it's getting too thick.
Exactly. They lay it on in this episode because first of all, so when him and May get to Khofar, he's like, he knows exactly how far away Kelnacca is.
I already scouted out. It was hard for him to find. It was hard for me to find him.
And then when they're getting their gear ready to go on this hike, he's like stumbling over bags and falling. And I'm like, okay, Jar Jar.
That's exactly because she's like, bounty hunters won't go in there, but you will. And he's like, whoa, yeah, I've been in there.
Yeah. And then when she decides to bail on her mission partway through this episode and puts him in a trap, now he's suddenly he's the only character that we know who is not around while this dark user shows up.
And I think that's exactly what they want you
Exactly.
That's what they want you to think.
Because I'm sitting here going, okay, so that makes it pretty obvious that it's him, which means it's probably not.
Yeah, I liked it when it was a fringe theory.
But then I'm like, okay, well, the other suspects that we've had, even minor, besides Corell, are all here.
Yeah.
You have Soul, which was like your tinfoil hat.
Yeah, that was my
theory.
reaching, my Tyler Durden.
And then Whitney was like, no, it's fucking Yord. Fuck that guy. But
Yeah.
she also just doesn't like him. I told her about the Yord Horde, and she just goes, ugh.
Because Yord is like what a Jedi thinks they should be.
Yeah.
I follow the rules to a T. You're going to have to return that blaster. That's actually Jedi property.
Dude, that's so funny. And actually, she was like, you know what? He just had a good moment because there's a point where, what does he say to Osha?
She says, I get it. You're mad that I'm here. He goes, no, I'm not mad you're here. I'm worried about your safety.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's the line that got me. I was like, he's a doofus and he is just like a fucking teacher's pet, but he's a fucking good guy. He is a good Jedi.
Yeah.
Um,
But all the people that we've suspected or even tinfoil hatted about are all in this scene except for Corell. So the only way it could be any of them would be like some super fucking Luke Skywalker in episode 8 force projection
which
shit.
Should be left as a special power.
Which
by
also
the Grand
he
Master.
had to focus really hard, but he was also projecting himself across the galaxy, not
if
across
you were
the
doing
room.
it right in front of you. I still think no on that.
Yeah.
I did also have a wild one about Vanessa Rowe, but they go out of their way to show us hands.
Yeah.
And they are white and, in my opinion, feminine. There is a bracelet on one of the hands, which makes me think, again, it's not Qimir because he
Okay.
had no bracelets. But if it ends up being him, it's going to be just poor writing.
Yeah.
Because they're spelling it out so much. Even he drops his like goof guy mask at one point. He's like, he'll kill you. Because she's like, dude, Osha being alive changes everything. I don't need to fulfill this oath. I'm going to go turn myself into Kelnacca. He'll
Well,
kill
and
you.
that's another part where they lay it on thick, right? Because she says she's going to go turn herself into Kelnacca. She puts him in the trap. And when she gets to Kelnacca, he's dead from what appears to be a lightsaber wound.
Yeah, which I also kind of think is weak. I mean, we've seen people get stabbed through guts multiple times and live, but this is just a slash across.
This is slashed across. Maybe it cut more things that are important.
I
I
also
don't know Wookiee
I was gonna
biology.
say I don't know Wookiee fucking biology, dude.
I'm not a Wookologist.
Anatomy.
I guess
So-
it would be a cryptozoologist.
But I do want to bring up Basil though, because this fucking cute little otter. I have the name, but I'm not gonna be able to say it perfectly because I've never read it before. But it almost looks like Tynyan, Tynnan.
Maybe Tinian or Tinyan.
Yeah. But this is their first cinematic appearance. This is a very deep cut fan favorite from Solo's Revenge, a novel from '79. So I mean, this is the part I like about having these legends. They're pulling things they like without telling the same story.
Yeah.
You
Because
know?
and that's one thing I've said since the beginning. I'm like, but why would you want to see the exact same story put into a movie form.
It'd be boring.
Unless it's a fucking amazing story. Like a close friend of mine who was very upset about Solo because he thought that the Han Solo story from the novels was like phenomenal.
Yeah.
So he's like, they could have just kept that. It was fucking great. And I don't know the story.
See, but
like,
then you could have, but there's probably going to be a theater where like he's behind the door. Like he's got to go to the left. Like you know every fucking thing and shut up.
Just one last note about layering on the Qimir stuff, and we'll move on to the end of the episode. There's a point where she says,
Have
May
you ever
says,
seen his face?
Have you seen his face? And he gets real serious and he's like, I haven't. And I'm like,
They're trying to lay down like because it's my face.
And I mean, I don't think it's going to be him because we talked about it before. The other show that Leslie Headland is known for is Russian Doll.
Yeah.
Which is also a very like we're going back and forth telling different parts of the story. It's got like time travel and shit like that. And like it's a mystery, a layered mystery. And I feel like that's too straightforward for her.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because I was just gonna say like it's a good mystery.
Yeah.
You know, it's what they're doing. And I think like another mystery is who's the acolyte? You know, is it supposed to be May? Is it supposed to be Qimir? Is it Darth Zeno? You know?
I guess that's fair because I don't know because it can't be. We don't know if it's he or she.
Yeah.
That particular person could be the acolyte. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
So-
that's what I'm starting to think now because May is so quick to be like, dude, this changes everything. I'm giving myself up. The Jedi are going to throw you in jail. Like, not when I tell them who I know, which is what? You already don't know anything.
Yeah. Never seen his face. Don't know where to find him.
But I know you. I know Qimir. I'll turn in Qimir.
Also, I was saying he because she says he.
I said it earlier. The show's telling you he,
Yeah.
which is a misdirect in my opinion.
Yeah.
We say he, and who's the only, like you'd said, who's the only he that's not here.
Yeah.
So I think it is right now. My big thing is Coril.
And there's a point here where when they're first going into the forest and everything, Osha goes to Yord, I think it is, and she tells him, she's like, hey, if we find my sister and she won't come with us peacefully, you have to take her down because I'm not going to be able to do it. So she's telling him right up front, like, so even though he's a douchebag, she trusts him.
Yeah. And he does the Jedi thing. He's like, Soul brought you here for a reason. Not necessarily to fight her, to confront yourself. Which again, she could be dead.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just it
hasn't
left my brain.
But they do all see both of them here.
Sure, you could force project right next to yourself.
That's what I just said. And you said no.
I know.
Also, no one makes contact with this guy. He stands face to face with Osha and pulls out his red lightsaber. And then
pushes her to the side.
He force pushes everybody away, which was
first it's Osha.
Yeah, first it's her
because it's your daughter.
And then they all light up their lightsabers, which is cool until they all just get pushed away, and then we get black, which we knew was going to happen.
Yep, I was very upset the first.
Whitney
time.
was like, "So we're watching the next one." I was like, "There is no next one yet. This is it.
This is the problem with the streaming every week. Part of me likes it because it keeps me disciplined. This part of me hates it.
So
Fuck.
the little capybara dude you mentioned, Basil, he's their
Basil.
tracker, and he's leading them through the woods. And they go through these ballsack trees, is what I wrote at first, until we realized that they're roly-poly moths.
I knew right away these were. I was like, that's a giant cockroach.
Well, and so the subtitles told me that they're called Umbra moths.
Okay.
Because it said Umbra moth chitters.
Ooh, little detail that might be important, might not. They're attracted to the light.
Okay.
Because Soul ignites his lightsaber and just kills the thing, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it went right for your lightsaber."
Yeah.
And he even says it's attracted to light.
Okay.
So I just wonder if that's going to come to anything, or if it's like this place is scary.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Also, Soul's lightsaber is blue.
Uh-huh.
I've just been categorizing them as we see them. That's the first time we've seen his.
Yes.
So
Is it?
I think so.
I'm trying to remember. I thought we had one earlier, but either way, a lot of yellows, which used to be the Jedi. Well, it still is the Sentinel Guard. And I think I misspoke on another one where the yellow means more that you help other people instead of adhering to just the rules, which is weird that Yord has a yellow.
Well, I think it's a generational thing because like in our world, right? Because Indara has a traditional green, Soul has a traditional blue. We haven't seen Vernestra Rose yet, but I guess hers is purple.
Okay.
She has the whip, which I'm sure we'll see. Which I also did a little bit of reading about, and it turns into a sword or a whip.
Okay.
So when you were talking about the blocking thing, you can like basically push a button and make it stay solid, or you can whip. So
give me that technology, Playboy.
It's either floppy or whippy. I just got to push a button.
Push a button. It's getting hard.
But it's like the young kids are all like, man, I don't want to be blue or
Dude,
green
even-
like my master. I'm fucking different. I'm gonna be yellow.
Even yours, like everyone's taking Shriwook. I wanted to learn a language a little more nuanced. You're a hipster.
exactly.
You didn't learn Shriwook because it was cool.
I wanted to learn a more nuanced language, which is fucking capybara.
Yeah.
I can't remember what you said it was called. Tinians? Tinians? One of them there?
Tinian Lannister.
But like right before May puts
Actor playing Basil Hassan Taj. Just want to.
So it's a little person actor, or is this all CG?
It is a little person actor. They add CG to it. Hassan Taj also played R2D2 in Rise of the Skywalker because Kenny Baker no longer with us.
Okay.
So we got some Star Wars legacy here.
Because I mean, the face is clearly CG, but
Yeah.
there's stuff that seems puppeted also.
I bet you this actor is wearing a green face
Yeah.
on set.
And you know
just-
what?
boop.
This looks better than that wannabe fucking the glasses lady.
Oh, Maz Kanata.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
obviously
it
it's a
wasn't
different
Maz Kanata,
it's a different race, but it's got that same
Yes.
weird
and
old
this
alien
does
face.
look better.
yeah.
This is adorable. This
Yeah.
fucking creature is so cute. I thought it was gonna come to something when May fell in those plants and they made a specific puff and a hiss.
Yeah.
I was like,
me
oh,
too.
she's gonna be tripping balls.
Yeah.
And maybe it will. Maybe it will come to next episode. But all of a sudden it was just like, nope, she's inside watching Kelnacca be dead. Okay.
Yeah, which as soon as she walked in and we saw Kelnacca from the back, Whitney was like, "Oh, is he dead?" And I was like, "He can't be dead. We saw him in the trailer with a
Oh, I
lightsaber."
knew, as soon as she walked in, I was like, oh, he's dead.
Yeah, but that was my denial. But then immediately I was like, "Nope." Still flashbacks. So
The use of sunsets in Star Wars continues to mean stuff too. It's happened this whole series, but this one was so obvious. It was right when she was like, "Oh my God, Kelnacca's dead," and this sunset's so fucking fast.
well, you know
in
what?
this
Everybody
jungle
was
land.
talking about. We've got this long till the sunset. We got this long, so you knew it was going to be a bad thing. But like that sun goes down and this place goes blackout.
Yeah, yeah, it's about to be real bad. Oh, here we go. That lightsaber fight. All those little fucking moths are gonna come ruin that.
Ah,
They're all attracted to the light, so maybe that's how the Master gets away, or the Darth Zeno gets away.
okay. Because they're all mad. They're attracted to the light, but they're also mad that Soul chopped their friend in half.
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
And there is at some point where Soul is acting like he senses something. So we don't know if
Yeah.
it's the Master, May, Kelnacca's dead.
I think
Because he
it's-
has this pause.
I'm saying the Master without having any knowledge of that. It just feels that way. Because, yeah, dude, he's like staring off. It almost does feel like something's coming, but it's like, wait, and doesn't somebody, the tracker says something's wrong here?
Yeah.
Like it's sick. It reminded me a lot of the fucking Hobbit when they go into that forest. And
Yeah.
It's like there's a sickness.
So Basil finds May and does a little screechy thing. And that's when she runs into Kelnacca. And then they all hear her scream. Well, they hear Basil because they heard her scream when she was setting up Qimir. And then they hear Basil. So they follow him. And this is where they all meet up. And the Master, like you said, just kind of lowers out of focus into the background
To my
behind Osha.
knowledge, we've never seen a Force user float like this. I mean, like down like this. We've seen levitations, obviously, but this is like damn near flying.
Yeah.
But it is awesome. It saves the episode for me. I'm loving the design of this helmet. It's got a little Kylo Ren back, like the back of the head is a little Kylo Ren-esque. No connection in my mind. But I did read online, people were saying that it's reminiscent of kintsugi, which is the Japanese precious scars. You get a piece of broken pottery and use gold to weld
Oh,
it back
yeah.
together. I didn't see that very much, but it does look like a rigged up helmet.
Because it looks, when they show it from behind, it looks like it's not, either not quite put together right or it doesn't fit quite right or something.
Yeah.
Something's weird about it. But also it's dark, so.
Yeah, I'll check it out again. Not the whole episode, just the last 5 minutes. But I dig the look so far. It's menacing as fuck. And I think this is the reason we had a voice modulator the one time we did hear him talk. It's a female. And if you heard a female voice, you'd be like, well, we can eliminate half this cast.
Well, also, I think that's because we still don't know if this is going to end up being a Sith Lord. And I think that's another thing to misdirect that, too, because we've got the black cloak, we've got the mask, we've got the red lightsaber, and we've got the voice modulator, which is pretty much almost most of the Sith that we've seen in the movies. At
For
least.
sure. I mean, Vader, Kylo Ren, right off the bat.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's only 4 that we've seen in movies, right? It's them, and then
Sidious.
Kylo Ren and Sidious, who
Sidious,
don't, or not Kylo Ren.
Dooku.
Sorry, you said Kylo Ren.
Dooku, Maul.
Maul.
I mean,
That's who
those
was
aren't
thinking of.
those aren't Sith Lords per se,
but Sith.
but Sith, yeah. Yeah, but the other thing is Darth Maul was never hiding.
Yeah.
And Count Dooku was never hiding.
Insidious doesn't have a modulator, but he changes his voice.
Yes, he does.
So
And he's hiding his appearance a little bit. So I think when you are this infiltrator or puppeteer kind of Sith, you got to do something.
yeah.
But I don't know, man. I feel like they're hiding. I don't feel like this person is hiding their identity from them. They're hiding it from us. I feel like if they took their mask off, they'd be like, oh, you.
Oh, okay.
So maybe I'm wrong.
But I mean, if it is Coral, it would make sense. Coral.
Coral. Hey, Coral. Oh, Coral.
If it is Coral, it would make sense that it doesn't end up being a Sith per se. It just ends up being she's a Force user who's pissed
Yeah.
and she's evil.
Yeah.
And so it could be a thing where she's trying to misdirect them, also making them think she's Sith when really she's just an angry witch.
Yeah, could be. I need to know where she got this lightsaber, where this person got their lightsaber from, because none of the witches had lightsabers.
Well, you know what? She was very adamant about killing Jedi.
Oh yeah.
So, and I mean, we've seen this whole time, May, whenever she was fighting Jedi's, trying to take their lightsabers.
Maul was tested this way. He was sent to go kill Jedi without a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's this whole kill without a weapon thing.
Does it count as killing without a lightsaber? I think somebody asked this in this episode.
Yeah, Qimir does.
If you take their lightsaber, because
Yeah.
you didn't have one. You took theirs, and now you
But
have
you're still
one.
killing with the weapon. I still think it's more of like this is the idea.
Actually, you know what? The mission is to kill a Jedi without a weapon. It doesn't say kill a Jedi without a weapon. It says kill a Jedi without a weapon. Does
The
that make
Jedi
sense?
has no weapon.
Exactly.
Kill the Jedi when they have no weapon.
You take their lightsaber, kill them. They have no weapon.
Your lightsaber.
But it's all, there's a bunch of different things going on because it's a mystery. So we'll see. We're halfway there,
Living on a prayer.
even though it doesn't feel like it because we still have 4 weeks left.
We just got here. I feel like we just fucking got here, and it's already halfway through.
Yeah, because this is 2 episodes in a row that's like build up, action cut.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just give me action.
But I am also much excited for next week. I do hope you are wrong and we get the battle instead of, oh, that was rough. Oh, come on. Like, you can't just not show me that.
Like I said, I think if they do that, it'll be one of those things where it's like, oh man, that was crazy. Cut back to we get the battle, at least in pieces.
Sure.
But which would be a way to meter out the action throughout the episode. But we'll see. Who knows? Because we don't have episode lengths. We don't have episode titles. We don't have shit. So.
Yeah, if you go to IMDb, we still, like you had said on another episode that this the actor that plays Qimir is only listed for 1.
Yeah.
And it's like, boop, here he is.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we'll see him again.
Exactly. And we've mentioned that Kiadi Mundi and
Plo
Koon showed up, and I had mentioned before that the only established characters we were going to see was Vanestra Rowe, and I'd misspoken last time because I said in the first episode that's the only established High Republic character we see.
Yeah.
So obviously we've seen more. So there's still a possibility of other things like Yoda and stuff, but I don't think Yoda's going to be here.
I think we'll get a name drop on Yoda.
Because Yoda I don't know if it was in the prequels, I think it was in the prequels, mentioned that he had trained Jedi for like 800 years. Well, he's like 900 at that point. So at this point, he's not training them anymore.
But he'd be the Grand Master.
Yeah, exactly.
He's part of the High Council, which they mention here.
Yeah, so I don't think we'll see the High Council see them. They
Yeah.
might hear mention of. I think a lot of this is going to happen outside of the proper Jedi channels.
This is going to be a
sense.
budget thing. Like, don't blow your budget on Yoda.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I mean, they've already got the assets. They just need to upgrade that shit to 4K.
Yeah.
Wait, they already did that.
Done and done.
But that's it for this episode. So you're still excited?
I am. It was a bummer watching it once. The second time, now I'm going to go home and do that pause thing and try and check out this master a bit more. I'm still excited for the show.
I wasn't as disappointed in this episode, except that it just ended without the real action. That force push against all of them was epic.
Dope.
And there's also some red in there. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just a push.
Yeah.
But I like slow burn, but I need a payoff, and we don't really get it. So
this show does have to land for me because, like, as much as I'm excited for it, it could still be a big whiff.
yeah. So we'll see where that goes. So next week, you will hear our coverage of Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. The full episode, no 2-parter, because we got our shit under control. We're not talking for 3 hours anymore. And then the following week after that, we will have coverage on episodes 5 and 6 of The Acolyte. And we will have both of them available for you at the same time, barring any other horrendous tragedies.
It's been a rough week.
Yes, it has. So I have been Derek.
I'm Jack.
Good night and get your Wook on.